Welcome to Channel 8 News. I'm Rachel Schrog.
And I'm Tanner Barth. Coming up on today's show, Governor Sam Brownback has made a decision that has sent hundreds of Kansans marching to protest at the state capitol.
We'll also learn how your cell phone could save your life. But first, winter weather has descended upon Kansas. How long is it going to stay?
Let's throw it to our weather forecaster, Paul Cannon, outside to find out. Paul?
Thanks, guys. I'm out here in snow-covered Manhattan, Kansas in my coat and sweater. It is only currently 16 degrees with a high of 21 degrees. We'll have your 5-day forecast and much work coming up.
This is Channel 8 News, KKSU LP. For Manhattan and Riley County, from Kansas State University, this is Channel 8 News.
Welcome back. I'm Rachel Schrog.
And I'm Tanner Barth. In today's show, we'll see how saving on your income tax could save you otherwise.
And we'll also join our friends live in the Sunset Zoo. But first, Junction City Police have ended a 5-day search for a parole violator. At 5:30 Tuesday evening, JCPD arrested 20-year-old Arthur M. Van Tessel. Van Tessel was convicted in 2011 on charges of distribution of certain hallucinogens and had been missing since December. Authorities say they located Van Tessel through tips, and he did not resist arrest. Van Tessel will be held in Geary County Jail.
In other news, Governor Sam Brownback has repealed a 2007 order to protect workers in government jobs from discrimination due to sexual orientation or identity. Brownback lifted the order, stating that former Governor Kathleen Sebelius acted without state legislation approval.
Brownback's executive decision has outraged a lot of members of the LGBTQI community.
That's right, Rachel. A group of state employees are feeling less secure in their jobs because they can now be fired for their personal lives. Channel 8 reporter Morgan Elder is here to tell us how the LGBTQI community is responding to this new development.
Thanks, Tanner. Some state LGBTQI employees are no longer legally protected from job discrimination. Despite the risk of potentially losing their job, some refuse to stay silent. Protesters gathered at the steps of the state capitol. Their message? The Stand Up for Love rally, held on Valentine's Day, was created as a response to recent actions taken by Governor Sam Brownback.
Our governor passed an executive order that blatantly discriminates against gay and lesbian, transgender, and queer folk. People who have been trusting that they're safe to be out about who they are in the workplace for years now.
In 2007, Governor Kathleen Sebelius issued an executive order protecting employees of the state of Kansas from discrimination due to their sexual orientation or gender identity. Earlier this month, Governor Brownback removed sexual orientation and gender identity from protected classes. Kansans, including Planting Peace Director of Operations Davis Hammett, were quick to respond.
If you're not outraged, you are not listening.
Around 600 protesters braved the cold to show their solidarity for the LGBTQI community.
Show me what democracy looks like!
With continued effort, the protesters hope their actions will influence change.
Thanks, Morgan, for your coverage of this event. Brownback's decision has impacted a lot of the local Manhattan residents. For more on this story, reporter Katie Johnston joins us now live on set with members of the LGBTQI community. Katie?
Thank you, Tanner. I have with me today Brandon Haddock and Johnny Harvey, and we're just going to discuss a little bit about your reactions directly following when news broke about Governor Sam Brownback's decision. Brandon?
I would like to say that I was surprised, but not necessarily. I think that in the past few months that we've been moving towards kind of what has happened here in the state. And also, in the past few years, we've had bills that have been proposed for religious freedom and all of that really kind of address that issue of protections rescinding those protections, and so this action is not really that surprising.
Johnny, do you have any reactions?
Like Brandon, I wasn't really surprised. I mean, during his first time in office, I mean, he just gutted the state, like funds and protections and rights that people should have. So it made little sense to be surprised that he was going to do this again on his second time in the office. So.
Right, and President Kirk Schultz of K-State released a press release directly following the event, and I just kind of wondered what you guys' reaction was, or what your opinion is on the policies that K-State has put in place about anti-discrimination. Johnny?
Well, from a student point of view, I think it's awesome. It's amazing to see the faith that I have and that love that I have for K-State is reinforced by knowing that my administration is looking out for me and my fellow students.
Well, that's all we have time for. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Katie, Johnny, and Brandon for your input on this issue that is affecting many members of the LGBTQI community. Channel 8 News will continue this coverage as soon as more develops.
If you ever wanted to be on radio, you can by signing up to join the Wildcat 91.9. The station is open to all students, no matter what your major is. The best part, you can get experience right away as well as no sign-up fees. You can be a DJ for the alternative and hip-hop and rap rotation. Or report for news and sports. Wildcat 91.9, KSDB, Manhattan.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Tanner Barth.
And I'm Rachel Schrog. 32-year-old Derek Kessler is set to appear in Riley County District Court. Kessler is being charged for vehicular manslaughter involving a bicyclist last June. In a voluntary statement, Kessler said he was looking at the GPS function of his cell phone when he struck and killed 49-year-old Mark Jilka of Manhattan.
In other news, last Friday there was a head-on collision that occurred on K-13 highway. 57-year-old Warren Berg was driving northbound when his vehicle struck another vehicle that was going southbound. The second vehicle was driven by 61-year-old Ricky McGinnis and his passenger, 76-year-old Frank Wedge. Berg was pronounced dead at the scene of the crime.
That's unfortunate news. Well, tax season is here.
Yeah, and let's be real, guys. No one wants to do taxes, let alone pay them.
But what if we didn't have to?
Well, Governor Brownback is trying to do just that, guys. Reporter Anthony Williams has more on the story.
Thanks, Tanner and Rachel. In 2012 and 2013, Brownback decreased income taxes. In his State of the State address this year, Brownback said that he wanted to continue his march to eliminate income tax in Kansas. People are still shopping in Manhattan and around Kansas. But are those purchases creating enough sales tax to make up for the revenue lost with no income tax?
I can't, again, speak totally for the government. What he's trying to do is to move tax by reducing income tax on businesses.
Manhattan Mayor Win Butler believes Brownback's plan has a few problems.
Now, the governor came up with a model which basically predicted that if you reduce income tax, it will increase business, and therefore there will be money brought in to replace it. Now, my thought is, at this point, is that the theory, as tested against reality, has not produced the numbers they thought.
Internet purchases reduce sales tax revenue due to the lack of collection, according to some business owners.
And as we spend more and more money on the internet and not pay tax on the internet, that is blowing a hole in the plan that the governor has.
They say this lack of sales tax collection exacerbates the problem by driving more business to the internet.
Now you're starting to create an even larger inequality between your brick and mortar businesses and your online business.
As more and more purchases are made on the internet, we're going to have a huge problem because we're not going to be able to pay for state services.
State services such as education and transportation have already seen funding cuts this year due to state financial troubles.
Thanks, Anthony. This issue is definitely something Channel 8 News will keep their eyes on as the year goes on.
Well, a new safety app was introduced to K-State last semester.
Yes, I downloaded this app, as you can see, and it's made living on college campus so much safer. Reporter Megan Miller joins us now with Major Dawn Stubbings to talk about the new Live Safe app.
Thank you, Rachel and Tanner, and thank you, Major Stubbings, for being with us today. Can you tell us a little bit more about the app and its features, just how it works?
The app is very interactive. It allows us to be a person to communicate with our dispatch center, and they can actually have a conversation back and forth, almost like a chat. It also allows you to send tips about crimes and photograph or take a video of the crime in progress, so it's very interactive.
Okay, and what would you say is the most used feature so far?
The crime reporting, the tips, but there's other features that are excellent. They've got a lot of campus information specifically to safety, and they also have a tracking app where if you're friends with somebody, you can actually follow them on a map if they're coming home from studying or coming back from Aggieville. You can actually follow them home.
Okay, and I understand that kind of works like a GPS, right? Like you can just see them as they move?
Yes, and it's only friends to friends, so just not everybody can see that.
Okay, and I know there's one feature where you can report suspicious activity, and there has been some recent suspicious activity in the area. How can Live Safe help in situations like that?
It allows you to have either anonymous reporting, so if you don't feel comfortable and you just want to send it in anonymously, or you can send it in with your name on it so we can go do follow-ups later.
Okay, well that sounds like a very useful app. We'll be sure to check it out. That's all the time we have for today, but thank you so much for joining us. Back to you.
Thanks, Megan, and Major Dawn Stubbings.
We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, you will meet a local 2-year-old whose life was saved by a stranger.
And how long will this frigid weather stay here? Stay tuned to Channel 8 News.
Non-traditional students are an important piece of K-State heritage. Some of these students are veterans returning back to civilian population after serving in our armed forces. This can be a troubling time for these veterans. Trying to adjust back to civilian life can be a hard obstacle to overcome. The Veterans Center at K-State helps these students with this transition. Through counseling and other means, these veterans can find the help they need for this transition at the K-State Veterans Center. The center is located on the ground floor of the Student Union just inside Salsaritas.
Hey animal lovers, if you haven't heard, the Sunset Zoo's website is full of information on news, upcoming events, how to get involved, and much more. You can also stay up to date with the zoo by following along on social media sites like Twitter, Pinterest, and Facebook for even more content and become a part of the Sunset community. So get online and check out sunsetzoo.com today.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Rachel Schrag.
And I'm Tanner Barth. Recently, K-State held its first ever game jam. More than 60 students pulled all-nighters to develop a functional video game within 48 hours. Teams created a video game that fits this year's theme of securing the future. The winning team was given a license with Unity Pro and software for video game development. Although only one team won, other students were happy to be part of the experience and learn how to incorporate it into other areas. In other news, there was a blood drive on campus just last Friday.
Many people don't realize how important donating blood can be, but for one local family, blood transfusions were able to save their child's life. Reporter Natalie Otto is here to tell us more.
Thanks, Tanner and Rachel. More than 41,000 blood donations are needed each day. I was able to talk to one mother who has experienced firsthand how blood transfusions can be life-saving.
544. Thank you.
It's just another workday at the office, but for Brandy Stoddard, today is a chance to participate in something near and dear to her heart, donating blood.
Well, I donated blood to be used as blood product for those in need, and I think that it's really important if you're able to donate blood. It's just a really good gift that you can give others, and it's pretty painless.
Brandy doesn't mind waiting the 15 minutes to give blood. She knows firsthand what that donation means.
So my daughter at 4 months fell ill and had heart failure, so she needed to have a transplant. Therefore, she needed lots of blood products. So this is just one way that I'm able to feel like I can help and give back to those that actually helped give her new life.
Stoddard found out 2 years ago that her 4-month-old daughter, Haven, had cardiomyopathy, which meant that she required a heart transplant and a lot of blood transfusions to live.
So she was diagnosed with cardiomyopathy at 4 months old, and we then had to move to St. Louis to be put on the transplant list for her to get a new heart. She received her new heart at 5 months old, almost 6 months old, and she's now 2 years old, so she's doing wonderfully with her new heart.
Today, Haven is a happy and healthy 2-year-old. She has needed 3 blood transfusions due to medications to maintain her heart health.
So again, that's why it's really important for my husband and I and our family to donate blood, so we feel like we can give back in a way that can help her.
Haven and her family are living proof of the importance of donating blood. Haven isn't the only member of the Stoddard family who needed blood. Her father needed an organ transplant when Brandy was in college.
Thanks, Natalie. Seeing Haven running around is a good reminder of why we should all donate blood.
Yeah, knowing it can save a life is enough to make me get over my fear of needles and maybe finally donate.
We are shifting gears now and joining Channel 8 News reporter Stephanie Peterson, who joins us live from Sunset Zoo.
What is going on out there, Stephanie?
Thanks, Tanner and Rachel. I am here with the Marketing Development Officer, Ella Casey. Ella, where exactly are we in the zoo today?
We're actually behind the scenes. We're inside the otter holding building. So this is actually where the animals go at night or when it's cold outside like today. And right now we are watching the otters look into some animal enrichment. And so they are trying to figure out where their mealworms are at.
Awesome. So what else is going on? What are they digging?
So we've got a brand new otter. It's a female otter, and she is checking out her new name, Matsu. We just had
Thanks, Stephanie, who joined us live from the Sunset Zoo.
We're going to take a quick break.
Coming up next, a look at sports with reporter Ryan Mandarin. Stay with us.
I'm Michael.
I'm Maureen. Meg.
And we're 4 of the members of On the Spot Improv Club. We do everything improvised.
Completely live.
We're so good at group thing. We all just say a word and everyone will know what I'm thinking.
Hannah Brownie Thompson. If you change your word, then we don't know what you're talking about.
Improvise.
Okay.
One more time. Ribbon.
I don't understand how am I supposed to know what you guys are gonna think?
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Tanner Barth.
And I'm Rachel Schrog.
Snow might be pretty at first, but could you get fined for not paying attention to it?
Channel 8 reporter Zolly DeJungen joined us from the outside the studio to explain why you should clean off your sidewalks before the city cleans out your wallet.
Thanks, Rachel. Yes, if you're living in a home here in Manhattan, you might want to invest in one of these. Otherwise, that might be more money out of your pocket. Nearly 2 inches of snow fell in the city of Manhattan recently, and much to the dismay of many college students, they still had to go to class.
Could be a little bit nicer, especially for it being mid-February.
David Pfeiffer is a K-State student that lives off campus. And while the snow doesn't cause trouble for his walks to class, he wouldn't mind a clearing in the sidewalks to go through.
The city could do a better job if it's the city's job, especially the crosswalks and sidewalks around campus.
What Pfeiffer doesn't know is that it's actually not the city's job to clear sidewalks in front of homes. While shoveling in front of your home is common courtesy, for some residents, it's actually a requirement, which means if you don't comply, you could be facing a fine. That's because the city of Manhattan requires homeowners to remove snow and ice from sidewalks that lie on their property.
It gets really frustrating because I walk to class myself.
But before he can walk to class, he first has to shovel, according to his landlord.
In our lease, we have to shovel the snow every time it does snow.
Fortunately for him and other homeowners in Manhattan, there has not been much to shovel so far. But it is Kansas, and the winter is long from being over. Now, according to city code, Manhattan residents have 36 hours to clear the snow in front of their homes. Otherwise, they could be facing a fine of over $75. So, Tanner and Rachel, make sure you guys clear that stuff too. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Zoldy. I hope you stay warm. We are now joined by our weather forecaster, Paul Cannon. How's the weather, Paul?
It's pretty cold outside, guys. It's only 16 degrees. It's supposed to be 21 degrees today. As we go take a look at our national weather map. As we take a look at our national weather map here, it is very cold outside here in Manhattan, Kansas, but nationally, it is 33 degrees in Denver, Colorado, 18 degrees, a little bit colder in Kansas City, 60 degrees down in San Antonio, and of course, scorching 82 as usual in Phoenix, Arizona. Over in the Northeast, we have 29 degrees in Bangor, Maine, 33 degrees in the Big Apple, 70 degrees down in South Beach. As we take here closer into the state of Kansas, our national map, we have partly cloudy skies here in Kansas. A cold front, very cold front, is blowing through Missouri and down through the southern states. Maybe some severe weather later on, and a lot of rain down in South Beach, Miami. Very nice and sunny as usual out in the West Coast. Here in Kansas, more locally, if we go to our Kansas map, 35 degrees in Salina, Kansas, 23 degrees in Topeka, 45 out in Colby, Kansas, 45 down in Dodge City, 36 degrees in the ICT, Wichita, Kansas. And now our 5-day forecast is supposed to be a little warmer, but still pretty cold. 28 today in Manhattan, Kansas, 32 Thursday, 42 on Friday, 39 on Saturday, and 27 and partly cloudy on Sunday.
Thanks, Paul, for the weather update. Reporter Ryan Mannering joins us now for sports.
Ryan, K-State hosted both men's and women's games last week, didn't they?
They absolutely did. That's absolutely right. We had a great weekend for sports, so let's take a look over at the highlights. Let them speak for themselves. All right, Willie and the fans were fired up this Saturday as the team took charge in the first half after the tip-off. Williams, pretty quick, hit a long jumper, followed up by returner Marcus Foster for 3. Foster, returning from a 3-game suspension, comes in big with another authoritative 3. And so the Wildcats maintain a steady lead throughout, and they played an aggressive game with Foster going down hard. He got a technical against him when they were playing OU. And then forward, only a couple minutes later, Brandon Bolden goes down underneath the basket and walks off the court with a broken wrist. Coaches say he will most likely not return for the rest of the season. Stephen Hurt hit a big dunk early in the second half, and then Marcus Foster had a great finish to close the game throughout, where he hits a tie-breaking three with just over 3 seconds left. The place goes wild. Bramlage was electric. I had a blast in there, and we had a much-needed Wildcat win over Oklahoma, 59-56. All right, moving on over into women's basketball. Getting into it, the ladies took on Texas Tech at home on Sunday. And starting off, Kindred Weisman with the drive, went up strong for 2. Another great shot from Weisman after that for 3. And then moving into the second half, we had senior number 1, Taylor Tejada, with the huge steal. And after that, she dished off to Bree Craig for the fast break and the layup. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough for the ladies to kind of close the gap there. We did lose to Tech at home, and it was our 3rd loss at home in a row there, and we ended the game 74-68. So,
when we return, Paul Cannon will tell us how much longer you have to keep your winter coat out.
Stay tuned to Channel 8 News.
Wildcat 91.9. The station is open to all students, no matter what your major is. The best part, you can get experience right away as well as no sign-up fees. You can be a DJ for the alternative and hip-hop and rap rotation. Or report for news and sports. Wildcat 91.9, KSDB, Manhattan.
I'm Michael. I'm Maureen.
Meg.
And we're 4 of the members of On the Spot Improv Club. We do everything improvised.
Completely live.
We're so good at group thing. We all just say a word and everyone will know what I'm thinking.
Brownie. If you change your word, then we don't know what you're talking about.
Improvise.
Okay.
One more time. Ribbon.
I don't understand how am I supposed to know what you guys are going to think?
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. I'm Tanner Barth.
And I'm Rachel Schrog. Let's take one last look at the weather with our weatherman, Paul Cannon. Paul?
Yes, guys. Like I said, it's supposed to warm up a little bit later this weekend, but right now it is only 16 degrees here in Manhattan, Kansas, with a high of 21 degrees. As you can see outside, it is very cold and snow-covered, but it's very sunny, so that should help. The wind is supposed to be a little windy today, so obviously have that jacket, gloves. Don't stay out too long unless you have to be here tonight, as the lows are supposed to be in the teens.
So when you're talking about this weather and it's kind of under that freezing, how important it is that make sure your parents are getting their kids when they go out, they're wearing jackets when they're going to school, and then they're going outside to play.
It is very important because those wind chills, those temps, you can get very sick. Hypothermia, it doesn't take long to really set in, especially in those cold temps with the Kansas wind.
So Rachel, make sure you wear your jacket outside. We don't want anybody here getting frostbite or anything like that. So, thank you, Paul, for being with us here for weather. But thanks for joining us for another edition of Channel 8 News.
We hope you join us next week.
I'm Tanner Barth.
And I'm Rachel Schrog. Have a great week.